attention that while we took the time to make more sodium hydroxide solution, the pH went down to 9.7.
Okay.
And didn't I tell you at one time it was at 9.8?
It was like a 9.8, 9.9.
Even 9.9. And that's something to understand, that if you leave this set for a little while, like we did for 5 minutes, don't be surprised if more of the sodium hydroxide solution gets used.
Okay.
And if more is used up, it's going to bring down the pH. Right now we're at pH 10.
Okay.
And the solution is very milky looking. I will show you the solution when we get to our stopping point. We're at pH 10.2, 10.4, 10.5, and we're stopping at pH 10.6. So, this is well within, what does it say?
It says between 10 to 10.78, but no more than 10.78. 10.5 is usually where everyone stops.
And I stopped at 10.6.
Okay.
And so that's a personal preference if you want to keep adding the sodium hydroxide drop by drop as you get up over it. And now I'm going to do something that I never want you to do. This is pH 10.7, and I'm going to take it out of the catch basin so that I can show you. This is the process part finished. We have our pico minerals, we call them, because they're very, very, very small sized, and they are in the solution. And that took us longer than it would if you were just at your house, obviously. But you can see it's not a scary thing at all. And this part's done. What do the directions now say?
So after you finish stirring the solution, you'll notice that it's milky, which it is. Rinse the pH probe into still water, towel it, and store it. And then set the jar aside in the catch basin and allow it to settle overnight, covered and in the dark at room temperature. The precipitate will sink to the bottom, leaving clear salt water over it. The clear salt water has an alkaline pH, so follow the precautions for working with high pH outlined in the Making the Reagent section. Washing and cleaning the ORMUS containing precipitate is the next part of that.
Okay, so you understand the process is done, but it's not ready for you to take.
Okay.
Can I put here this? It's not in the finished form for you to put on a plant, give to an animal, take yourself, which will be here. So you're going to leave this in the dark, covered, for 24 hours. You can certainly leave it longer, you know, you can leave it 2, 3, 4 days. You can leave it until, and if mold would grow into it. But it is just doing its settling, and then there will be clear liquid over it. And what do we do after it has the clear liquid?
It says, so washing and cleaning the ORMUS containing precipitate is the next step. Rinse the precipitate. Start by removing the clear, high pH saltwater liquid above the precipitate. Pour it off or use a turkey baster, syringe, or dropper. Safely discard that water. Add back to the jar as much distilled water as there is precipitate left in the jar. Then agitate using a plastic-looking spoon or spatula so the precipitate is fluffed and washed by the moving water. Let the precipitate settle for 8 hours covered in the dark. Repeat this rinsing, washing, settling process 3 more times, but no more.
So that's what you do. Let it settle, take off the top water, add just as much or about, you don't have to be perfect. If you see 3 inches of material down here, including precipitate and the leftover top water, add 3 inches of distilled water. The thing is that it says there very clearly you want to stir briskly, you want to agitate that water.
Yeah.
Because sodium hydroxide is slippery like soap. It has and you want to break up that slipperiness. So just doing this isn't going to break it up. You got to get a little wrist action in here. So you get a flip up. You're making little miniature vortexes every time. And then you let it settle another 24 hours at least. You can let it settle more if you want. Do the same thing. You do that 3 times. And that's called washing it. Another word that they would say would be purifying it. And then what does it say?
What is left after the last wash and settling is a high quality, broad spectrum ORMUS ready to use. Most then again add back an equal amount of distilled water as there is precipitate left in the jar. The ORMUS is ready to store until use. Using plants, animals, and humans discussed in the book, ORMUS Modern Day Alchemy, page 258. Store the ORMUS in HDPE plastic containers or clear regular glass in a cool, dry, dark place. If using a glass container, avoid metal tops. HDPE plastic containers have a triangle on the bottom with a number 2 in the middle. Store the ORMUS at least 6 feet away from electromagnetic fields, EMF electronics, wall plugs, microwave ovens, cell phones, appliances, etc. And then wrap the bottle of ORMUS in aluminum foil to further help shield it from EMF. The bottle of ORMUS can also be stored inside any ferrous metal containers, the type a magnet sticks to. Ferrous metal best shields from EMF. Most use the ORMUS within a year.
Or you can wrap it with aluminum foil. So here you are, able to collect your own. Either get the do-it-yourself kit at basics.com, get the book ORMUS Modern Day Alchemy, go to subtleenergies.com website. If you go to any place else, be sure that you trust who's teaching you. And we'll be back, and the next go around, we will show how to collect via the live oil process, which is another process. Well, we all love you, and we want you to enjoy your ORMUS journey, just like we're enjoying our ORMUS journey at the Key Largo ORMUS Brew in November of 2016. Take care.